destination for the stars, past, present, and future, where the stage became home for one Frank Sinatra.
I did it my way.
There's a theme here, Raider Nation. Look no further than the late, great Al Davis. He did it his way, but the commitment to excellence, pride, and poise,
Just win.
the Raider way.
All right, here we go. We good?
We good.
All right. All right, everyone. What's up? Welcome to the Raiders Weekly. I am Stephen Michaels. I am joined with Bill Robinson and Willie. What's up, guys?
What's happening?
Yo, what's going down, boys? Raider Nation, what it is?
It's a bye week, so everyone had a stress-free Raider week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. My Tennessee Vols, can you believe it? Beat Alabama.
Best thing ever. Hendon Hooker, QB number 1.
Rocky Top. Woo!
Oh, it felt like I won a Super Bowl, to be honest. So, anyways, all right. So we're coming off the bye after the Raiders lose again against the Kansas City Chiefs. A game where the Raiders could have won easily, but again, they did not execute when it mattered. They didn't score points in the third quarter, and they took a loss. And now we're at 1-4. What do you guys think? This is a game I think the Raiders could have won. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Willie.
Man, the Raiders should be at least 4-1. At least 4-1. And this is a game, not only could we have won, we should have won. Period, point blank, end of story.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the Raiders should be like 5-0 if you really think about it. All these games, they are definitely the best 1-4 team in the National Football League. I mean, if you watched football yesterday, I mean, look at these teams. It seems like the Raiders can beat all of those teams, but they, of course, always shoot themselves in the foot and they can't execute when it matters. But I mean, come on, they're not that far away from these teams. There's no reason why they should be 1-4. But that's why I think the next 4 to 5 weeks are very, very important for this team. I think they can win the next 4.
The situational football, the one thing that we used to say that New England always was better at than everybody else was the situational football. They made the plays in the clutch that nobody else made because they didn't lose focus. And right now what you're seeing is the Raiders lose that focus via penalty, via some type of strange coaching decision, via not reading the play and getting the ball to the correct person, not completing the catch. Throughout some portion of the play, the focus breaks down and it's not executed in the crucial situations. So far, I haven't seen a team, as you guys said, the Raiders easily could be undefeated. They definitely should be 5-1. I haven't seen a team beat the Raiders yet. I've seen the Raiders beat themselves a bunch.
Yeah, the Raiders have not been beaten on the field. They only beat themselves. Against Kansas City, they had the formula. It was to run Josh Jacobs. Then when you look at the end of the game, you see that this guy had 21. He had the same amount of carries the Chiefs had. You know what I mean?
A lot more yards.
Yeah. So why are you not feeding him the ball? And it's not like he's getting hitting the backfield and are losing yardage. He's gaining yardage every single time he touches that football. The Raiders should have one time of possession. They should have kept on running that football. And guess what? They walk out of Arrowhead with a victory. But instead, for some reason in the third quarter, they start throwing the football. For some reason, you're up 17-0. And they start throwing the football. It was just so stupid. It reminded me of when the Patriots played against the Falcons in the Super Bowl when the Falcons had a big lead and then the Falcons started throwing the ball for some reason. That's what it reminded me of. The Raiders had a 17-0 lead. And
it wasn't even that bad. That was 28-3.
I know.
It wasn't that bad. I mean,
the score is bigger, but I'm just saying they were up 17-0. Then they were up 20-7 against the Chiefs. We're talking about Kansas City Chiefs. They're up 20-7, and they still, what do? They go out and they go 3 and out. They run the ball once and throw it. I mean, that's why Matt Collins had some big time drops in this game too. I mean, he deserves a lot of blame. And then of course jumping off sides. You know what I mean? If you never jump off sides, and then that holding call with, I think it was Malcolm Kuntz, right, on a field goal kick, that was so big. And you can debate if it was a holding call or not. Who cares? Let the backup kicker kick the ball. Don't even hold. Don't even just stand there like a statue, because it's a backup kicker. There should be no flag. So there should be. I don't care about Raider fans crying about, oh, well, he didn't really hold him. Well, listen, don't do anything. Just go like this, because you're going up against a backup kicker. He was going to miss that field goal regardless. Regardless, he was going to miss that field goal. The Raiders had that game in the bag, and they let it go. They let it go. What's your thoughts, Willie?
Well, you can't give any team, let alone that team, multiple opportunities to put points on the board. Or you can't give any team or that team any additional possessions, because what that does is it takes away the momentum that you have established. We were running the ball down their throats. They could not stop Josh Jacobs. He was getting yak yards like it was nobody's business. And then Raiders did Raiders things. I'm telling you guys, man, I almost got put in the doghouse again. Because my wife was not having it. And the game against who was it? The last game we played before the Cardinals. No, not the Cardinals. The game against the Cardinals when, oh my gosh, I end up having to leave. I ended up having to leave the house for about 45 minutes because I was getting it from everywhere on social media. She was giving it to me, and I just was just like, yo, I got to get out of here. I need to go smoke.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny. My wife loves to come and sit next to me and start talking about and start hating, especially when we're up, and to the point where it's like, look, she starts laughing when I put her out the room. Tell her, no, you got to get out, go away, get away from me. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, no one watches football with me because they say I'm just a miserable prick. So my ex-wife, my girlfriend, none of them. They it all started out fine. Hey, you want this? I do this Raiders thing. Watch the game. It lasts like 2 games, before, they're like, you're an asshole. All you care about is these men in tights. And they're gone. You know what I mean? They're gone. And then eventually they are like, why don't you just go coach? So that's what I do now. But now I got parents who can't stand me because their kids can't run and they suck. But that's another story. But anyways,
been there.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Like, listen, we don't have no future Hall of Famers over here, buddy.
Hey, listen, the Ware Indians, we're 4-1. We're gonna win the championship. But listen, so yeah, the Raiders, they just they should literally be undefeated right now. Every game they've lost 7 points or less. Every single one of them. Every single game they've been right into it. But they always do something stupid, something so dumb. A penalty here. I mean, you have the ball. First of all, you can't put yourself in 3rd and longs. And then we have players who simply are not playing up to their contract. Darren Waller. I mean, Darren Waller, let me just tell you something. This guy pisses me off. When I watched Kelsey against the Bills last night, okay, this guy's an animal. This guy hasn't missed a game since 2013. Darren Waller's hurt. What did he miss? 5 games last year? Then he's played 6 plays against the Chiefs. My hamstring hurts. He's on the sidelines. What was the point of paying him? What's the point? And the guy drops passes all the time. Then you pay Hunter Renfrow. The guy's not even involved in the game plan. Never mind. So I can't really blame Hunter Renfrow because he's not involved in this game plan. And the only one you got is Devontae Adams. And that's great. You keep feeding him if he's going to, keep doing good things. And the Raiders were doing good things against the Chiefs, especially the first quarter and the second quarter. It got away from the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, they start doing stupid shit. They start the penalties. They start, the holding calls, the third and longs. Everything dumb the Raiders do, they managed to do in that second half. Everything.
And I'll take it a step further, and I'll go back to you talk about tight end, and I look at this game against the Chiefs, and one of the things that really just stuck out to me was that there was no Darren Waller, and the significance of that being is if you look at the Bills, the last touchdown was scored by Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox has been a virtual no-show this entire season. Now he's had some stuff going on. Don't get me wrong. Not knocking off the field. Not saying anything about off the field, but on the field, that man has been a ghost. But in the crunch, when they needed a touchdown, he produced the winning score against the Chiefs. And the difference in this game was the lack of a tight end.
And because, Phil, the Chiefs, they play their linebackers very, very close to the defensive tackles. Like their base is like so tight. So like you need a tight end can literally split those linebackers, and they have a lane right there of about 4 yards. So you have like a 4-yard window if you're a quarterback with a quick release, like Josh Allen has a quick release. So you have Derek Carr does too when he wants to get it out of his hands fast. So if you had Darren Waller in that game, the seam in the middle of the field for a tight end, it would have been there pretty much all game long for the Raiders. But you take him out and you have Horsted in there, and they really didn't even use him that much. But when they did, even Horsted got some catches. You know what I mean? But the Chiefs, the middle of that field, their linebackers, because they play so tight in, those tight ends, you can hit them every single time for 4 or 5 yards. And with no Darren Waller, Darren Waller could have had a massive game. I'm telling you, he could have had a massive game. And that's why I was surprised they didn't, put someone over there. Instead, they put on because they're so scared of their offensive line, they use an offensive lineman as a tight end. So they kind of take away a weapon. You know what I mean? An offensive weapon they can use on offense because you have someone else blocking instead of being a tight end.
Well, and with that, it's kind of like you had to pick your poison because with the additional offensive lineman, Josh Jacobs did run for a career high in yards. So it did take away from the passing game, but it did, of course, help tremendously in the run game. And I think without Darren Waller in the game, and then you don't have Foster Moreau either, that loomed large.
Well, that's the problem is then in the second half, that's fine if you want to do that and run the ball. But then in the second half, they start throwing the ball. And then when you start throwing the ball, that's when you kind of need a tight end right there otherwise, like I said, you only have 2 wide receivers that are really out there because you don't got a lot of options as far as play calls. You just don't. So that's why they should have kept feeding Josh Jacobs in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter. They stopped. The guy only had, I think, 21 carries. This guy should have had over 30 carries in this game. The Raiders, for all the Josh Jacobs runs, they still lost time of possession against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's something going into the game, they had to win time of possession. They had to keep Mahomes on the sidelines. And they were doing well. They were doing very good at that early in the game. They were running the ball. They were taking their time to get to the line of scrimmage, running it again, picking up first downs and doing that. Then in the second half, I don't know, they decided to open it up and try throwing. And like I said, Mac Hollins had a terrible drop. There was just, again, shooting themselves in their own foot. That's how the Raiders lose games. No one has beaten, Phil's right, no one has beaten the Raiders this year. They have beaten themselves. This is a team that, if you watch yesterday, the Raiders are a lot better than, almost all of these AFC teams. They are very, very good. Their record, unfortunately, is 1-4, but they are not a 1-4 football team.
I'll take it a step further and tell you that the Raiders gave the Bills the blueprint for how to beat the Chiefs. Because they ran the shit out of Devin Singletary, and he didn't do anything fancy, but them 10 yards up the middle that he was hitting them for consistently, threw off everything that the Chiefs were trying to do. And then you have Josh Allen, who is truly an elite quarterback, and you see the difference.
Yeah, but I mean, even watching that Bills game, you could tell how much the Bills actually watched the film of the Raiders and the Chiefs, because the Bills also used the flats a lot, and so did the Raiders. They throw in a flat so much in that game, the Bills did. So did the Raiders. They threw in a flat to Devontae Adams pretty much every time. And then they tried to work the middle of the field. But they would run, throw to the flat, middle of the field. It was pretty much the same sequence of plays the Raiders would run. It's just Buffalo executed pretty much for 4 quarters. And that's why they were able to, get out of there with a victory, which was a good thing, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then tonight, I believe it's Broncos and Chargers tonight, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so got to have the Broncos. Hopefully, Russell Wilson sucks, but hopefully Russell Wilson can somehow beat the Chargers. That would be great for the Raiders. Because
Ryan shoulder worked on, didn't he?
What's that?
I believe he got his shoulder worked on.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah, but he's that's maybe a good thing, right?
Yeah, to repair slightly torn labrum in his throwing shoulder, I believe it was, wasn't it, Willie?
Yeah. Yep.
Who's their backup?
Had some cleanup there.
Who's their backup? Anyone know? Well, Russell Wilson sucks, so whoever the backup is probably going to be better anyways.
I hope he stays on the bench. I hope the backup stays on the bench.
Brett Rippon is the backup.
Maybe he's better than Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson's been awful. I mean, this guy has been awful. And that would be a pretty big for the Raiders if the Chargers get a loss, because I do think these next 4 or 5 games for the Raiders, if they put it all on paper, they should be able to beat the shit out of these teams. They should have no problem winning these next 4 games. No problem at all. But they got to put it together. I mean, they got the Houston Texans coming up next. There's no reason why you lose against Houston Texans. There is absolutely zero reason. And I really do think
with you right now, the Raiders are the worst team in the league. Right now, the Houston Texans are looking at the Raiders thinking the exact same thing, as that there is no reason in the world why we should lose to these guys. They'll beat themselves.
Nah, see, I don't think that. I think all these teams aren't that stupid. I think these coaches, I know for a fact, they're not that stupid. They're looking at the Raiders like it's only a matter of time till this team starts gelling and they start taking things over. I'm telling you. Because the Raiders, if you watch, I mean, they took Kansas City down to the wire. Every single game they've had, they lost from under. I mean, they could have won all these games. It is only a matter of time until they do put 4 quarters together and they look really, really good. And then if they can carry that momentum, they will be a really, really good team. That's the problem.
Yes.
They have to get that victory and follow it up with another victory. That's what this team needs.
Then you have a winning streak.
When you line us up against the teams that are ahead of us, the Colts, the Jaguars, the Texans, line by line, we have a better team than all of those guys. I mean, seriously. The Texans have like the 29th ranked offense in the league. Okay. Now, I know they got the dynamic young running back Pierce, and they have Derek Stingley Jr., who's going to probably be matched up against Devontae Adams.
I hope he is.
But the thing is that
dude, that'd be fantastic.
I hope he is.
And you want that
too.
Yeah, and I agree. You want that because we should be so much better everywhere else on the field on the offensive side of the ball against their defense.
Yeah, and is this game against the Texans, this is going to be in Las Vegas?
No.
It's in Houston.
It's in Houston.
Houston? No, it doesn't really matter. It's not
like it, but
it's not like the Raiders have a home field. I mean, let's face it, Las Vegas is a tourist destination for opposing teams.
I beg to differ. I say, it's not that the Raiders fans are continuing to pay those prices to watch a product that's been as underperforming as the one that they've seen.
No,
I'm not spending $1,000 to watch a team fucking shoot itself in the foot, get out to a 20-point lead, and then piss it all down their legs.
The Broncos fans did. They paid all that money.
Fans.
Yeah, I bet you if the Steelers were playing in there next week, it would be filled with Steeler fans. Guaranteed. That shit wouldn't happen in Oakland, and you know it. You know it.
But check this out. That's a one-time event out there in Vegas versus having to go out there and go see that week after week.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They just needed a stadium. I just wish it was in LA. I really do.
It's what happens. It's what happens when you price yourself into a situation where the visiting fans have to come in too, and them tickets are crazy.
Oh, they're so expensive. It's stupid. It's
most expensive ticket in the country.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a nice stadium and shit. You know, but it is very, very expensive. But either way, I really don't think it matters where the Raiders play. I really don't. I mean, like if it's in, I mean, I think they have a better record on the road than they do in Vegas. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter. Derek Carr is going to play, I think, awesome in Houston and against the Texans. Could be his future team for all we know. But I think he's going to play awesome against the Texans. I think he'll go out there and play really good. I think the Raiders are going to really beat up on Houston. I really do. I think
we need that. That's for sure.
I mean, matchup wise, I don't see how they can match up. I think Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, by the way, I got to say, he finally showed up a little bit against Kansas City. Maybe this guy can get, something going now. And him and Max Crosby, because Max Crosby's been awesome. This guy's been
unbelievable.
Awesome. And he had his baby, so that's all done. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to worry about that.
Congratulations, Max.
Yeah. So he has the baby. No, because that's got to fuck with your head right there. So now you don't do that. So then hopefully Chandler Jones can get going. Max Crosby can get going. And we don't know what's going to happen. I think something, the Raiders could decide to upgrade before the trade deadline on that defense. I think it's very, very, it's possible, especially maybe at linebacker, maybe, because, they're throwing linebackers in there left and right. Defensive tackle, maybe cornerback, since there's so many injuries in the secondary. So who knows? I mean, I don't know yet, but they could. But either way, the team they have right now can go into Houston and beat the Texans. And that's what they need right now. They need to get a victory.
So, yeah, and looking at it from a offense versus defensive standpoint, the Texans really don't have anybody that scare you other than Pierce. You can make a case, I guess, for Brandon Cooks a little bit, but Nate Hobbs and Rock Yassin, they should be able to handle Cooks. And then when you look
Nate
at their
broken hand.
Say it again.
Nate Hobbs has a broken hand.
Yeah, but he's still gonna play.
Yeah, he should. He should be able to play.
And if they wrap it up with enough soft cast, he can use it as a club and go upside somebody's head.
Oh,
yeah, well, I haven't heard. Hopefully, you don't have any ripped tendons and shit like that. That's when they don't play, when they have to have surgery and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a hand here, a broken hand.
Yeah, if he has a broken bone, he'll be playing.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah. Go on, Willie. Sorry.
Yeah, they don't have anybody over there that really scare you. So, and then I believe, outside of Laramie Tunsil on the offensive line, I mean, they're a bunch of no names. They have given up 12 sacks so far this year, but they've not faced a Max Crosby yet. So it's all out in front of us, man. It's all out there in front of us. The question is, one of the questions is, are we going to go out there and get it?
That's the thing. Can the Raiders execute? All they got to do is execute. And I'm telling you, this team can win football games. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, all these games, they're losing, in the last minute of the game, the last 30 seconds of the game. They're losing games. They're winning they're up 20-0 against the Arizona Cardinals. Mm-hmm. And they could not put Arizona away. That is stupid. That is dumb. I don't know how you can't put Arizona away, by the way, being up 20. But same thing happened with the Chiefs. They're up 17-0. Couldn't put them away. They got to play 4 quarters of football. They have yet to do that this season. They always have 1 quarter where they just do nothing. They do nothing at all. The play calling has to get better. They have to future Josh Jacobs, I think, a lot more. They really do. They have to give him the ball more. I don't know what the point is having Amir Abdullah on this football team. They don't use him. Why is he on this team, Phil?
Maybe.
He's throwing Brandon Bolden out there.
Yeah, bro, Brandon Bolden. Yeah, that guy's scaring people. I mean,
oh, by the way, this game is in Vegas, guys.
I thought it was. I thought it was.
Vegas.
That's bad knowledge on you, Willie. I blame you. I can't never be wrong.
Hey, I thought I looked at the schedule, so it was in Vegas. What are their next 4 games?
Well, the next 4, we have home to Houston, we have at New Orleans, we have at Jacksonville, and then we're home to the Colts, and then at Denver.
All right, so the toughest game out of there will be New Orleans.
I would say Jacksonville would be tougher than New Orleans.
They'd be partying out there in New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans is tough.
Let's call a spade a spade. It'll be New Orleans on Halloween. They're going to be out there in the French Quarter.
It's in New Orleans?
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's hard to beat that. Even when they suck, even when it's the dome. I don't know. It's a different environment.
It's not got nothing to do with the dome. They out there drinking that dirty water out there with all the beads you can get from the dollar store. Have the guys not getting in till about 4:00 in the morning.
Whatever. And Andy Dalton, he's been playing very very good. But
he's a value boy. He's back home. You know, it's like Louisiana's kind of like Florida. Like when you got Florida boys, they just play differently in Florida. They don't play the same way when you get them out of Florida. They play great, but they don't play the same as when they're in Florida. Same thing with those Louisiana boys. You bring them back to New Orleans, and all of a sudden they're superheroes again.
Yeah. Except for
places. Or they're a bunch of redneck hillbillies.
Look at Joe Burrow. He's not even from there, but he went back out there because he played ball. All of a sudden, he got a W.
Yeah. But listen, I mean, the Saints aren't a bad team. I think that will be the toughest game the Raiders have. The Jaguars, they just lost against the Colts. The Colts.
They beat the Colts already.
No, they beat the Colts. They lost. They lost to the Giants yesterday.
Yeah, they lost to the Giants.
Oh no, I thought they lost. No, they lost to the Jaguars. The Colts beat the Jaguars yesterday.
Yeah, they came back at the last.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because Matt Ryan had like 60 pass attempts yesterday.
Yeah. He won in the end. I won $20 on this game. You guys are trying to tell me anyway. So, anyways, but yeah. So, I mean, Jaguars are not that great. The Colts. Matt Ryan, I swear, this guy could be. Yesterday, he made some accurate passes, but he's like a Russell Wilson. This guy, I mean, he looks done. He looks cooked.
Just put some heat on him, and it'll start rushing. But that Alec Pierce kid is over there balling his ass off.
Yeah, well, I know, but the Colts. They got Pittman Jr. there.
Yep, between the two of them, they got a nice little receiving. They should be a lot better than what they are when they get a quarterback.
Their O-line is in a shambles.
Well, Matt Ryan holds the ball too long. That guy holds the ball way too long. And
their O-line is in shambles. They're not running the ball. They're not pass blocking. Their O-line, they gave Quentin Nelson all that money, and nobody else can block.
No, the Raiders should be able to beat them. They should be able to beat they should have beaten Tennessee Titans. But they should be able to beat all those teams. Like I said, New Orleans will be the toughest team. But if this team somehow can win all of those games, right? Let's say they go on a win streak. They beat the shit out of Texans and Vegas. I think Raider fans will show up for that game, by the way, because it's the Texans. So they get a victory there, and then who they got? What, the Colts next? Was it the Colts?
Here's where it is, fellas. Let me just read. Let me just, because this is gonna get y'all excited. Okay, here are the next 7 games: home versus the Texans,
W,
at the Saints,
W,
at the Jaguars,
W,
home to the Colts,
W,
Definitely W.
at the Broncos,
W.
W.
at Seattle.
That'd
Ooh,
be
tough.
questionable.
Yeah.
I'll say out of my 2, Saints and Seattle will be the questionables, but I
Because
don't see any reason why
because
they can't beat either one.
And then,
I could
and then-
see Derek Carr throwing a lot of interceptions in Seattle
Yeah,
against
they can the noise can get to them and a pass rush will shake them. So
Yeah.
that's why it's impossible. So there's your 2 possible losses. That gets us to 6.
home against the Chargers, and then at LA
Win.
for the Rams.
Don't beat the Rams.
They'll beat the Rams.
I'm telling you, this team could end up 10-7. I think.
They legitimately could not lose if we're
I know.
talking about it as simple as execution. If they are able to execute, they won't lose another game.
I know. I mean, their schedule kind of.
That's
Their
the frustrating part about even when their schedule toughens up at the end of the year. If they go out and simply do nothing else but execute, they will beat all of these teams.
Every
Mhm.
single one of them.
Every
And
single one of them.
their schedule when I was talking to my brother, he's an Eagles fan, right? And the Eagles schedule the rest of their way is so easy. It's almost like the Eagles seriously could go undefeated. Like
They still got to beat Dallas and the Giants.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
They got to play the Giants twice, don't they?
Yeah, and that's their toughest games. You should
Yeah.
see their schedule. It's insane how easy it is. The only hard games left on their schedule are the Giants.
Yeah.
But I tell him they're gonna go undefeated, but then if they make it to the Super Bowl, they're not gonna, you know what I mean? They're gonna get destroyed against Buffalo or whoever. The Eagles are not that great. The NFC is not a great. The whole NFC sucks. I'm telling you, the NFC is terrible right now. They have like a couple of good teams, and the AFC the same thing. In the AFC, everyone's kind of like 2-2, or you know what I mean? They're all like the same. Meanwhile, the Raiders have the talent there that they literally probably should be undefeated. They could definitely, without a doubt, beat the Texans. I think they're going to end up going on a roll here. Like I said, once they get back-to-back games, back-to-back W's, that's going to, once they start gelling and find that right formula and, put it together, they're going to be a dangerous team, and they can crawl right back out of this hole. But they could end up 10-7 and make the playoffs. You know what I mean? They probably will. The way I see
beating Denver helped. Beating Denver helped a lot. The rest of the record can take care of itself and not be a huge deal, provided they continue to take care of their business. And that's ultimately, and that's why I said earlier, as crazy as we were getting about it being must win, that it was still something that they could overcome. But they're running out of shit that they can overcome very quickly.
Let's be for real here, though. They can't lose against the Texans.
They can't lose another division game or conference game.
You can't lose against the Texans.
No.
We're talking about the Houston Texans.
Currently, the Raiders are the 32nd team in the league.
I don't give a shit. I don't care about stats. Listen,
I don't either.
The Raiders cannot lose against the Houston Texans.
No.
Willie, are the Raiders? Are they going to lose against Houston Texans?
No.
No.
If the Houston, oh man, I can't even make a bet, because if I make a bet,
don't
okay.
do that. Don't do that. Although the Raiders did.
No, we don't tempt fate around here. Shut up.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
We don't tempt fate around here.
But I mean, it's the Texans.
No.
The Raiders.
No.
The Raiders are going to win.
No.
They're going to win. Josh Jacobs is going to have a big day. I mean, like I said, I haven't read the stat sheet, but I don't know how good the Texans are against the run. But
it doesn't matter. The only reason Josh Jacobs isn't leading the league in rushing right now at this moment is because his coach didn't give him the ball in the first 2 games. That's the only reason he's not leading the league in rushing.
Exactly. And then during the bye week, Josh McDaniels, it was supposed to go over what has been working and what hasn't been working. And we all know what has been working is running the football. So I expect this Raiders team to be more of a run heavy team going forward. And by the way, if you do that, that will set up the play action. This is what drives me nuts about Josh McDaniels. If you know it's against the Chiefs, they didn't do a lot of play action. They would come off a good run, but then go back and shotgun. Why? Do a play action pass.
Your God, that is the preference of the talent on the team.
Are y'all ready for this?
There are certain people who shall remain nameless, who have issues turning their back to the defense for any stretch of time. Like I said, I'm not gonna mention no names, but if you can't turn your back to the defense, you can't successfully execute play action.
It's because he does not trust Illuminar. That's what it is.
Are y'all ready for this?
Yeah.
There's 32 teams in the NFL, right?
Yeah, I think so. Now,
that was a rhetorical question. Okay, yeah, no. So there's 32 teams in the NFL. There's only one team in the NFL right now that has a worse rush defense than, or two actually worse teams.
I thought it was the 30th.
Yeah, the Texans have the third worst rush defense in the National Football League.
Behind the Chiefs and who else?
No, it's the Lions and the Seahawks.
Ooh.
Well, that's just because with the Seahawks, I just think that's because of their opponents.
That's because nobody could throw. You know who they played.
Yeah.
They've all been low scoring.
But I mean, the Raiders are going to run heavy off the Texans. And, I would like to see Zamir White get involved a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't really get him involved that much. Him involved.
That's because your bell cow has said, yeah, he heard all the talk about the committee, and he said, yeah, all that shit is for the birds. I'm gonna start running this football at 5+ yards per carry, and that motherfucker's gonna sit on the sideline.
Yeah, and I happen to know. I mean, that's not Josh McDaniels' call. Josh Jacobs won't come off the field. Like, there are times where he's been called off the field for Zamir White to come in, and Jacobs waves him off. You know how Josh? I mean, you heard him in interviews and shit. You know how he, he's just like, no, I'm not coming off the field. You know what I mean? Like, it's not happening. I'm trying to get paid next year, either by this team or some other team, but I'm not coming off the field.
Shit.
Yeah, you're messing with my money here. So I'm not coming off the field, and he shouldn't really come off the field. But I mean, if he starts getting stuffed, but either way, you can have two running backs out there. You don't need the other fullback.
How you counter that particular situation, and this is where McDaniels has the opportunity to come out and show a new wrinkle and give everybody something new, is put them both in the backfield during shotgun.
That's what I just said. Yeah,
that's the solution. Or go back to how what's it called? They used to do Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson when they were in the backfield together.
Yeah, you do a double halfback set, and then when you do the double halfback set, I mean, you have so many options there. If you think about it, you can hand it off to one of them, or you can have them both, go into the flats. You can have one go on a go route if you really want to. Hey, you remember Brandon Bolden did it one time for a touchdown. If you remember, he went out to the flat
against Cardinals.
Yeah, so you have multiple options there. You can hand off to whoever is the quarterback has to watch this, obviously, and the running backs have to know this as well. Once the play starts, okay, there's a lot of heat on my side, so it goes to the guy on the left or the guy on the right. You know what I'm saying? And if it's a pass play, you have two options there. You can have one guy as a blocker and have the other guy go out for a pass. The guy can chip block and then throw it to him. But I don't know why they don't use two halfback sets. They should, but they always have whatever that dude's name is, the fullback in there. And
there's some slight tweak into what they got going on that can happen. Having a fullback out there is not a bad thing, but if you're gonna pull him off the field and Josh Jacob refuses to leave the field, then put in a shotgun package with two backs. so that he doesn't have to go. Then you can run the double screen options. Then you can run all your counters. Now you got a shit ton of misdirections without a player to not be named later, where he won't have to run a play action by turning his back. He'll just be able to move sideways or laterally in order to make it happen. Like I said, his player shall remain nameless, but that will give you a whole lot of subterfuge and give the defense something to look at that they haven't previously had to look at.
Is that the player that shall remain nameless? Is that the same player that's on your background?
I have no comment. He shall remain.
But check this out, dude. How about running a 22 personnel, just like y'all are talking about, right? Run a 22 personnel with Devontae and Waller and Moreau and Renfro and Josh and either Zamir or Abdullah and spread them out. You can put Josh on the perimeter and put White or Abdullah in the backfield, spread them out. That way, you're going to catch being the opponent in their either base 4-3 or 3-4 defense. But then you're going to spread these dudes out with your 2 tight ends, your 2 receivers, and your 2 backs.
No, they could. It depends what kind of defense. I don't know what kind of defense the Texans run. I haven't really watched the Texans.
If you really want to go and I've always thought about this from back in training camp, you can go 3 tight and spread and run mesh or spread them out wide because your tight ends are all capable of running routes. And when you see the heavy package comes in, here comes the extra linebacker and the bigger safety, and now they're spread out. Now you're in a distinct disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can't really talk about tight ends because the Raiders don't have Darren Waller. Hopefully Foster Moreau comes back this week. Hopefully, because
now we know why they had 7 tight ends in training camp.
Yeah. I mean, why did they pay Darren Waller? Why did they pay this guy? If you remember in training camp, the dude was hurt. He should have never been paid. They should have said, no, he's already under contract for 2 years. They should have said, why don't you play this season? Show that you can be healthy, and then we'll pay you. Now the Raiders are stuck giving him money, and the guy's not even on the field. I mean, it's just, I always thought he was overrated anyways, and it's just going to show more that he's overrated. He drops passes all the time, this guy. I mean, I don't know. He's no Travis Kelce, I'll tell you that much. I don't think he's even good as the 49ers tight end there. He's not. He's just not. He's overrated. The Raiders haven't had a good tight end in so long, and he is athletic, and he does make good plays when he gets the ball sometimes. So I think those highlights make him he gets overrated because, some of the big plays he has made. But he's capable of it, but the guy will drop an easy pass right in his hands. And that guy that you don't want to talk about behind you there, let me tell you something. He's delivered the ball right into these guys' hands. Matt Collins against the Chiefs, that ball was in his hands. So the guy, Derek Carr, you can't really blame him. You can't really blame him a lot for this season. These guys are dropping passes. They are dropping passes. The only thing Derek Carr is struggling with this year is what he's always struggled with is pocket awareness. I mean, that's the only thing he struggled with.
Oh, that's awfully kind of you to forget the fact that somehow he can't lead his receivers. Because I got to tell you, the amount underthrowing the receivers is the largest.
I forgot. The first couple of weeks he was.
First couple of weeks, he did that shit again against the Chiefs.
Yeah, he did. That ball to Devontae was.
Troy Aikman called him out for it on the broadcast. That ball, he should have had at least 3 more touchdowns to Devontae Adams. 2, excuse me.
Well, the first one that he threw to Devontae on the 4th and 1 was underthrown almost.
Yeah, I know, but his wide receivers have not been helping him. He has thrown passes where it's been hitting these guys in the hands.
No, bro, no.
Yes.
No, I'm not gonna let you off with that. He's been underthrowing everybody all season long,
and he's also been hitting them in their hands, and they've been dropping the football.
He's underthrown them a lot more than they've dropped.
Yo, y'all, we got some breaking news.
What's that?
Did y'all see the game yesterday with Carolina and who was it they played? The Cardinals? It wasn't the Cardinals. Was it the
Yeah,
Cardinals? No, it
no,
was
Rams.
anyway, the Rams. So the Carolina Panthers have just traded Robbie Anderson to the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh
What?
yeah,
For
yeah,
Kyler Murray.
he wanted out. Oh, Phil, this is something I was going to be put in a group.
Wow.
Yeah, he wanted out, and I guess he got in a fight with a coach on the sidelines yesterday.
The head coach.
Yeah, no, it was the wide receivers coach. He got in like they had to be separated type shit.
Like hands?
No hands, but he was like screaming in his face, and they had to be separated. But yeah, I mean, you can pretty much read his lips, and he said, "I want out of here." That's what he said.
Yeah.
Because I'm half deaf, I can read lips. So he said, I want out of here. I want out of here. So I knew he was about to get traded. Carolina is they're going to be trading these players. Now, Brian Burns is one that could be traded. The problem is they might want 2 first-round picks for him. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem with him. Christian McCaffrey, they're going to want 2 first-round picks for him. But
they can forget that.
Let me tell you something. If the Raiders could get Brian Burns for a first-round pick, 1 first-rounder, I would do it.
I would take Derek Brown over Brian Burns for a first-round pick.
Well, how much? I know, but it's about the money. See, Brian Burns doesn't have a lot left on his contract.
He's also coming up too.
Yeah, but I don't know about.
So why would I give up 2 first-round picks for a guy that I'm going to have to turn around and give at least $78 million to?
You get that shit done before you make the trade,
right?
You know what I mean?
See Amari Cooper, Dallas Cowboys, and Oakland Raiders.
Yeah. It's already like, and I know for a fact that Dave Ziegler for the Raiders, he's been making calls. Like I thought they would already actually have a couple players. I thought they would already make a trade. Now,
what if they offered him 2 first-round picks and Chandler Jones with that contract? Or if they take Chandler Jones's contract and give me Brian Burns, well then now we're talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
That's something that I absolutely would do.
But Carolina's not the only team that's going to be shopping. Also, I just want to let you guys know, watch out for the Raiders shopping Clinton Farrell. I mean,
they've been shopping Cleveland Farrell for 5 years, and he's only played for 4.
I know, but now is the time. Right now, with this regime, you know how they'll get rid of a guy for a 7th-round pick. As you see, they've done this.
Yeah,
this would be the time that they would do it. I'm just letting you know. So that could happen. That very, very well could happen. And I'm not guessing on this. I'm telling you that I know this. That this is a possibility that could happen. And also the Raiders have been looking at players. But again, it comes down to money. The Raiders don't have a ton of money. So if they do trade for a player, they have to work it out with the other team. They'd probably, like, for example, let's say they want to trade for throwing with Brian Burns. So let's pretend. They would probably give Carolina Clinton Farrell in that trade. You know what I mean? Like they would move money around. So like here, you take this contract. A whole bunch of stuff would have to happen in order because they have to free up some money to get some.
Currently, they're 5th in terms of cap space with just over $9 million. The Browns have the most at 33. Surprisingly, the Eagles still have $10 million in cap space. Then you got the Falcons and Panthers with about maybe $500,000 more than the Raiders.
Yeah, I think I know for a fact they have been asking teams. So this is the week because a lot of teams wanted to wait to see what happened on yesterday. A lot of teams waited to see. So with the teams that lost that were going to shop players, this is the week that it's going to happen. So if the Raiders want to get involved, if they like any of these players, they might not want to give away, their 1st-round pick, right now. Remember, the trade deadline's the 1st. Now, if they lose against the Texans,
Oh God,
Then
no.
they are not going to get rid of their first round pick because they will be drafting a quarterback, or they will be making a trade for the Patriots for Mac Jones. I mean, the Patriots with that Zappy dude, he's been playing really good. The Patriots could roll with Zappy, and McDaniels can get his boy Mac Jones with the Raiders.
Mac Jones is not the answer.
No, sir.
No, he's not.
Jones is not the
But
answer.
McDaniels is either.
Listen. Hold on. I'm gonna have to pump the brakes on this, and we're not gonna be talking about trading for nobody's Mac Jones when the Raiders currently have their choice of Hendon Hooker, the Alabama killer, Bryce Young, the former Heisman Trophy winner, DTR, coming out the West Coast. They got any choice of these premium
Yeah.
college quarterbacks who they will have on a rookie deal, which is quite frankly the best value in all of National Football League.
No, you don't get it. Josh McDaniels has already had a year with Mac Jones. I guarantee you he would do that. Now, listen, I would like Hendon Hooker more than anyone. Look who you're talking to. I want Hendon Hooker more than anyone, even though I know he will drive me crazy, just like Carr does, because he makes these stupid throws sometimes. But he's a winner, okay? This guy will. If he has to win a football game with his legs, like if he has to do it, he'll do it. He don't care.
Who is this?
Hendon Hooker in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
So, and you just said something that was key. He is a winner. Said, I know that you can draft that guy. You can draft that guy right now. Or even better, you could take that number 1 pick and you could trade down to 5 and you'll still get one of those 3 guys that I mentioned.
Yeah,
and you'll get an additional first round pick to go get the defensive tackle, the monster that I want, the monster in the middle that you need, or a linebacker for that matter, who can run, tackle, and cover.
The kid from Alabama.
The good news is Hendon Hooker. I don't think, even though he's smashing it right now, he's older. So these scouts, I think he's going to slide in the board. He's not going to be like the first quarterback taken or anything like that.
He got one game left. He beats Georgia. There's your number 1 quarterback.
No, the kid from Alabama is going
over Stroud.
If he beats Georgia, he will have beat Alabama and Georgia 1-3 in the same year. That's your number 1 quarterback. He
is 24 years old.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. These teams
care. If you look at his size versus Bryce Young, he's also 5 inches taller and 40 pounds heavier, more durable.
You're not going to convince me it's a wrong move. I mean, Jesus, I would go get 2 girls pregnant right now if the Raiders got Hendon Hooker. Okay,
not 2 girls.
Maybe even a third.
Yeah.
Maybe
feeling good around.
Watch out for that child support. I'm telling you, it ain't no joke.
I would be very, very excited if that ever happened, but it's not going to happen. We shouldn't even be talking about this. Is Derek Carr is the quarterback, and Derek Carr is going to lead this team. Okay, that's what we got here. We got to work with.
We see the game against the Niners because I know that Marcus Mariota sure tore their asses up.
Marcus Mariota probably should have got a few starts with the Raiders, and the Raiders should have seen how he did. You know what I mean?
They did when he was tearing up the Chargers. And in fact, I was pretty sure he had earned another start, especially when John Gruden was the one that cost him the game by taking the ball out of his hands in the crunch.
Well, Marcus Mariota did throw an interception at the end to actually lose the game. I mean, everyone forgets about that because he did do so well, but at the end, he threw a pick.
Hold on a second. Are we really talking about Marcus Mariota?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Fashion? Are we really doing that right now?
Yeah, me and Phil like to talk about Marcus Mariota. He's our favorite quarterback.
Because if you really, as you look at that, Willie, I'll do you one better and tell you that if you were to go and look up stats, that you would find something very, very interesting on the placement of Marcus Mariota versus a player to remain nameless.
No, okay. No more funny talk. Derek Carr is a good quarterback. This guy can win football.
Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota is awesome. Okay, Marcus Mariota is a different
Yes.
level. But we're talking about Derek Carr right now. Derek Carr can lead this team.
Who are you going to get better? Who are you going to go get better than Derek Carr right now?
You had Marcus Mariota.
No. That's that you can't do that.
What do you
Who
mean?
are you going to go and get better now than Derek Carr?
Marcus Mariota.
You're not going to get Marcus Mariota. He just
Why
signed a big contract in Atlanta. You're not going to get him.
Maybe they'll take the trade.
Oh,
You're not going to get better.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. He's a wild card. You never know with that guy. He's another guy. Up and down, up and down, up and down. I'm sick of that shit.
So you say that Lamar Jackson could go to Miami, and that should absolutely frighten you.
yes, it would.
Well,
That would absolutely frighten. That's the why he's got to come to Las Vegas.
Miami is one quarterback away from being probably the best team in football.
Insane. Yeah.
But Tua sucks. I mean, he
doesn't
does.
suck.
He
I've never seen Derek Carr throw 6 touchdowns. Tua does not.
Derek Carr is better than Tua, dude.
I haven't seen.
Come on.
Has Josh Allen thrown 6 touchdowns yet?
Who?
Josh Allen, he's on 5.
Now you're saying Tua's better than Josh Allen? Well, are you smoking crack?
We're talking about the offense the Miami Dolphins has today, this year, this season. He did that. He did that.
Okay, he's not better than Josh Allen. Stop it.
Josh Allen didn't put up 6 touchdowns yet.
I don't care if Josh Allen put up 6 touchdowns or not.
So hold on, Phil. Are you really doing this comparison right now? Tua Tagovailoa and Josh Allen. Did you see what that dude did yesterday?
Yes.
Yes. Phil must have smoked crack before the show. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Everyone.
Did you see what that dude did in the AFC divisional round last year against the same team that he did that to yesterday?
We're talking about the past. You're talking about last year. I'm talking about
this
year.
guy.
I'm talking about body of work.
So now, if you're asking me, do I seriously believe that Tua is better than Josh Allen? The answer is no.
Okay. So why are we having this conversation?
Because I like to take sticks and I like to poke Steve.
Oh, okay. And I guess I got to get to know that about you guys. So okay, that's fair because I'm all about giving it to somebody. I'm all about giving it to somebody. So
that's what Phil does, because Phil likes to act like he knows what he's talking about and likes to drive me crazy. But he knows that he's lying. He's lying about shit. He knows. You know what I mean? Like he knows he's lying about it. But like Tua.
Yeah, that's how it is for me here in Dallas.
When you cherry pick stats, you can make anything sound like the guy's a world beater.
That's why
you can only do that with people who don't know what they're talking about.
There seems to be a lot more people who don't than who do. That's the God's honest truth right there.
Well, we need to be trying to take their jobs then, straight up.
Listen, that's the goal. You can use stats as a tool, but you never use stats to judge if a team is going to win a football game or not.
Look at Cliff Kingsbury.
What's that?
Look at Cliff Kingsbury and Graham Harrell at Texas Tech.
Yeah, Cliff. What do you mean? The Cardinals?
The air raid offense, the numbers that they put up.
Oh yeah. He's great.
Now, if I recall correctly, wasn't Davis Mills the quarterback whose job Patrick Mahomes took?
Davis Mills went to Stanford.
Yeah, Davis Mills. What was it in Texas?
He transferred.
No. It was Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and Patrick Mahomes. All they were intertwined together because Kyler Murray started out at A&M. And Baker started out at Tech when Mahomes was there.
Mm-hmm. And then transferred to Oklahoma. No, because I was going to say there was another quarterback who transferred out of Texas Tech because he got. I really think it was Davis Mills, and he transferred to Stanford.
That I don't know about, but for sure,
I don't know about these transfers.
For sure, it was Mahomes and Baker together at Texas Tech.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah.
let's get back on track here. Okay, so guys, what do you think? The Raiders versus the Texans, big game. Raiders got to get healthy, obviously, right? They had a bye week. Obviously, the Raiders broke our hearts against Kansas City. So we went over this, but let's just do a yes or no here. Do you guys think the Raiders can get their season back on track?
Yes.
Yes, I think they can get their season back on track. But it's solely up to them. Just like the reason why their season has been off track has been because of them.
Team is too talented to not have a great chance of getting back on track.
I agree. I think the talent is just, it's stupid. But again, the one thing I feared going into this season, I didn't like the Josh McDaniels hire because, as you guys know, every single one of these Patriot coordinators, they've all failed.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them. And what evidence do we have that Josh McDaniels was going to come in and be this great coach? And so far,
team in the league, bro.
What?
They're the 8th best scoring team in the league. That's top 10. That's called elite at scoring the football.
Hey, what's their record?
That's not his fault that they can't play defense.
It's not. He's the head coach.
Wait a minute.
Wait
a minute.
Stop.
In scoring.
Willie, did you hear what he just said?
It's not their fault. Phil, man, I was with you, man, until you made that statement, man.
Wow, dude.
That's like saying saying Matt LaFleur is not at fault for what's going on in Green Bay.
That's like saying
Matt LaFleur is the offensive coach, and his offense has not been producing.
He's the head coach.
He's the head coach, Phil. He's the head coach. He makes the decisions. He's
the head coach.
He draws up the plays. He does the personnel. He says who's going to play running back, who's going to play quarterback, who's going to play wide receiver,
we just established that Josh McDaniels can't even get his running back off the field, bro.
Dude.
He's the head
What do you think he's calling the plays out there?
My God.
He can't get his running back off the field.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Are we out of time? It's been
we got all the time in the world. Got all the time in the world. I ain't got nowhere to be.
We're gonna be sending Phil football for dummies 101.
No, it's gonna be 050. It's gonna be a remedial class. I even have a 1 in front of it.
I'll send him the audio version. I mean, geez, the audio.
You can listen to it on the way wherever.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
can't count on me to read it. You know, just make sure you don't send me a blank iPad.
Right.
Yeah, no shit. So, anyways, all right. So the Raiders, they have a big game against the Texans. They should be able to beat the Texans. From there, Willie, who do they have after that?
It was the Texans, and then it was the
Jaguars. All right,
so the Saints.
All right, so
was it the Jaguars, and then the Saints? Because I was going to say we got roughly about 2 weeks till the 30th, so I believe it's going to be the Texans and then the Saints.
Yeah, that is correct, and then the Jaguars. Right.
All right, so the Raiders have to figure a way here to beat the Texans and then beat the Saints. I don't think they'll have a problem against Jacksonville. I really don't. And then somehow beat Jacksonville. If they can get on a 3-game winning streak right now, I think their season will be saved.
Yes.
I really do. But they can't lose against the Texans. If you go 1-5, that's a really big hole. I don't know if any team's ever.
No, we're not going to even talk about that part of it.
Yeah,
it's not probable, but again, like I said, with the talent that they have on this team, they could not win. They could not lose another game. The lack of execution could mean they don't win another game. But I don't see how that with the schedule that they've got coming up that they can't pull off at least 10-7.
Yeah, I agree. I think 10-7 is very realistic, and I think Coach McDaniels, Phil, I think he will make he's had a whole week look at everything that's been wrong, everything that's been going right. I think he's going to go out there with a different kind of game plan. Like I said, more run heavy. I think we're going to see more of that. And I think the players, they needed this break more than anything. You know what I mean? Like after a loss like that, I think if they had to play this week, the Raiders would have lost.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? After a heartbreaking loss like that, with all the craziness, with Devontae Adams pushing this dude on the ground, what a pussy, by the way, that guy is.
Dude is getting paid. That's all that is.
Yeah, but dude, I don't know why Devontae Adams just didn't give the guy write him a check right there. Just be done with it. Obviously,
that's not how it goes. Because it's one of those weird things. He should have just cut the check and been done with it.
He said he had whiplash and a mild concussion. Boo-hoo.
I would too. A dislodged spine, hurt feelings, bruised.
Basically, all he had was a headache and a neck ache. That's it.
And a small little, and maybe a small little bump on the side of his head. I mean,
he didn't fall down that hard.
No, he didn't.
And in fact, he was able to get up immediately. That's what was funny about it.
I'm just hoping Devontae Adams does not get suspended more than I don't want him to get suspended 4 games.
So the league has determined that they're not going to make any decisions until the legal process is played out. So how that works, as we all know, is that his representation is going to immediately delay the trial till after the season.
Yeah, well, his first court date's November 15th, I think.
Which they'll waive his right to a speedy trial, and then they'll reassign it, and because they got 90 days, so they'll put it somewhere, I think, up 4 or 5 months to the middle of the off season.
Mm-hmm. Can you guys imagine? Raiders go on a win streak. They win. They go to playoffs. They go to a Super Bowl. Devontae Adams is suspended. Can you imagine? That would be like classic Raiders right there. You know what I mean? The NFL just screw up.
I think there would be a disgruntled Raider fan who might try to burn down the league office.
I think there might be 3 of them.
I'm
looking at all of them.
That is something that would happen. I mean,
that would have to happen at that point. I'd be like, wow. I mean, the last time it's like our starting center ended up in prison, in jail in Mexico.
Yeah, smoking crack and shit.
Yeah.
But anyways, so okay, let's just wrap this up. So this coming Sunday, the Raiders will take on the Houston Texans in a very, very important game. A game where the Raiders, they have to win. They can't get into a bigger hole than they are. Get back their season. We'll see, what kind of adjustments Josh McDaniels has made. And who knows what happens this week. We'll know about injuries later on today. Today's Monday. And, so we will see you guys. Phil, you can plug whatever.
Yeah, well, ain't got nothing too much to plug. Aside from we got some content for LA Football Network coming out about the USC Trojans' mighty tumble out of the top 10 with the loss to Utah. A lot of interesting things there. At some point, I'll have an article coming out this week for the Raider Ramble called "The Raiders After the Bye," and you'll be able to catch the unfiltered truth. We'll probably have the Raiders digital reporter Levi Edwards on Wednesday. There's also the Combat Lounge where we'll be recording an episode recapping this Sunday's fights with Devin Haney, Deontay Wilder, Caleb Plant, and others. And that's pretty much what I got going on for the week so far.
Oh, okay. What's up, Willie? Plug your YouTube channel.
That's a lot, man. Yeah, man. I appreciate it. YouTube, as you see, the Shakeback Media Group there on YouTube, at Shakeback Media Group on Twitter and Instagram. I have the hashtag Brothers of Baseball show. We're going to look ahead to the LCSs and see what's going to happen with the Guardians and the Yankees. Tomorrow, I have a show divided with Tisha C. She's a Chiefs fan, and of course, we will discuss the Bills and what they did to her team yesterday. And then, later in the week, I got the Shakeback Sports Show as well as some other stuff as well. So, yeah, make sure y'all get out there and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. We need to get to 1,000.
Yeah. So everyone go to Willie's YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe there. Eventually, I'm going to be a guest on his show. And we got to get 1,000 subscribers. So just go to his channel.
Help him out.
Yeah, help him out. And his name's right on the bottom there. You see that? So just go to his channel, subscribe to the thing, do it for me. Okay? Do it for me. All right.
Appreciate
And I got nothing going on. Nothing at all. So that's it. This is the Raiders Weekly for Phil and Willie. My name's Steven Michaels. We will see you guys after the Raiders beat the Houston Texans.
Destination for the stars, past, present, and future, where the stage became home for one Frank Sinatra. There's a theme here, Raider Nation. Look no further than the late, great Al Davis. He did it his way, but the commitment